After a fantastic season opener at Snetterton, today the Mini Challenge rolls into Brands Hatch, with racing taking place on the legendary 2.4 mile Grand Prix circuit. Now that's a great experience for any driver, but particularly those new to the Mini Challenge. Justin, you're brand new to Mini Challenge and relatively new to the UK.
Yeah, I got here middle of March, so it's basically came over for racing specifically.
So why choose the Mini Challenge?
Basically, firstly, the response that I got from Mini Challenge themselves was very professional and really good service. They were very quick to answer my queries and that sort of thing, which was nice to see. Costs are very good. It's a very well controlled series. The cars are very much, the same car that you're racing against, so it brings out the talent of the driver. And it's not a big budget issue or, who's got more money to spend on fancy components and that sort of thing. So I don't have a huge budget, so it was important to me to be able to compete on level terms in spite of that. The plan was for this year, the prize at the end of the year is a subsidised drive next year in the JCW class. So plan is not going very well at the moment, but that was plan A.
A friend of mine did it a few years ago, a guy called Stuart Clark, who did a stunning performance at Alton Park. I was racing the BMWs there. I didn't know what to do this year, and I met the team, liked the team, and frankly, it seemed like a good idea. And it's fantastic fun. It really is great fun.
Now you've gone straight into the JCWs as opposed to going via Cooper class. Why is that?
Well, to be honest, partly ego. I didn't want to be driving a little car compared to a more powerful car which was available. So the JCW was the way forward.
And I know the guys in the JCW this year, they're competing for a prize to get a drive with the 888 team in the British touring cars, which is, that's a massive opportunity. It's really huge, and that sort of stuff is it makes it so much more exciting, and that you've got something that that you can work towards, and definite exposure that you can build up. And there's actually the outlines of a career path in motor racing, which is something I haven't experienced before, and that's really positive.
Before we get on with today's racing, let's have a look at the action on the track yesterday.
Well, atrocious conditions greeted the drivers as they set off start to race one. As you can see, or rather can't, the view from Chris Smiley. In the Cooper class, it was even busier. Josh Gollin taking the early advantage and mixing with some of the JCW runners. Although Ollie Walker, riding car with now, was right in his tail as they headed down Outer Druids for the first time. On towards treacherous left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. Walker closed onto the tail of Gollin, couldn't quite squeeze through in the early exchanges, running out wide over the rumble strip. Well, Walker coming through clearways, lined up another run on Gollin's, they accelerated along the Bramham Straight. Josh Gollin though holding the inside line towards Paddock Hill Bend, making it very difficult for Ollie to challenge to the outside. Eventually though, Ollie Walker was able to snatch the lead of the Cooper class, turning into Surtees, a lead that he wouldn't relinquish through the checkered flag. Throughout the field there are adventures to be had. Justin Taylor tiptoeing his way through Paddock Hill Bend, but going all sideways. The car snapping to the right, then the left, then the right again. Unfortunately kissing the tyres. Problems and an early bath for Justin Taylor. Patrick Mortimer was another driver who came a cropper, this time at Graham Hill Bend. The Team Scalextrics man derailed. All the while though, it was Jake Packen who was leading the race overall in the JCW class from Chris Smith and Luke Cordell. Then it all got very busy going through Paddock Hill Bend. Smith ploughs through the gravel trap, Lawrence Davey also into the sand. He shatters the Allen's windscreen, Allen gains the place. Recovering Smith, Davey forced into retirement. Well, through the murk it was Jake Packen who did come through to take the win from Smith, with Luke Cordell completing the podium in the race overall and the JCW class. In the Cooper class, after that great battle, Ollie Walker claimed the honours from Josh Gollin and Gideon Cresswell.
Well, the engines are revving here on the grid for the second race of the weekend. Up in front for the Coopers is Josh Gollin, and in pole position for the JCWs, it's Jake Packen.
Absolutely gigantic field of cars, so this promises to be very, very entertaining indeed on the undulations of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Always a highlight on any calendar for these drivers. So let's take a look then how they line up in full, with the top three, as we heard from Michelle, Jake Packen, Chris Smith and Luke Cordell, with Lee Allen in fourth. Kevin O'Connor and Chris Smiley, completing row 3, just ahead of Chris Callister-Russell and George Allen. It's Craig Freeman and Bob Posier who complete the JCW class runners. Then we have that gap before the Cooper class grid begins, with Ollie Walker and Josh Gollin locking out the front row from Gideon Cresswell and Shane Stoney. Stoney, who went so well at Snetterton at the opening round of the year. Justin Taylor, let's hope that his repairs will be completed as he completes the 28-car grid. They make magnificent sight as they get ready for the rolling start here at Brands Hatch. And it's Jake Packen who surges into the immediate advantage in that black and green car. Then Luke Caudle and Chris Smith side by side into paddock, and it's Caudle in the black and yellow car who dives to the inside of the black and orange machine of Smith. The pair of them run side by side, climbing up the hill towards the hairpin at Druids. Caudle's got the inside line, and possession is 9/10 of the law in the mini challenge, and therefore he is able to snatch that second position. He demotes Smith to third, and now Chris Smith has his work cut out to keep at bay and charging Lee Allen. Lee always goes well here at Brands Hatch, and he'll have his blue army cheering him on here today as they sprint on the Cooper straight on towards Surtees. The field all running very, very tightly together. A bit lower down the field, Lawrence Davey, part of the next train of cars, but it's Jake Packen who's trying to break clear as they come down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorns. Then we've got that three-way scrap going on second position. John O'Brown passes George Allen a bit further down the pack, but what about the Cooper class? This is looking very, very tight indeed as we follow Bob Posier through Hawthorns. We've got Shane Stoney and Josh Gollin running very tightly together. It's just the white car of Gollin rather who's clear of the red machine of Stoney, and then it's Gideon Cresswell who's third amongst the Cooper class runners as we go back to the front of the JCW class with Jake Packen just clear of Luke Caudle. We ride in car with Luke now as he downshifts into Paddock Hill Bend, driving absolutely on the limit of adhesion, runs up over the curbs and then charges up Harewood Hill towards Druids. He has got, though, right on his tail Chris Smith. It means that Caudle looks to the outside of Jake Packen. He's been hung out to dry here, and Caudle tries to get through, can't quite do it. He's able to maintain that second position. Then we've got the next group of cars headed up by Kevin O'Connor. That's another very nice scrap as well. So wherever you look through this field, it's Chris Callister-Russell who's the next man along, then John O'Brown. As Caudle and Packen still running very close together, and Caudle goes through to the frustration of Jake Packen. Let's head down Pilgrim's Drop on towards Hawthorns, and Chris Smith and Lee Allen still very much part of this fight. So what can Jake Packen now do about demoting Luke Caudle? The pair of them absolutely on the brink through Westfield. It's equally tight in the Cooper class, and still the white machine of Josh Gollin, who's just got his nose ahead in the coastal racing car of Shane Stoney. We're in car with Ricky Page here, who goes for a very, very bold move on the Walker into Druids. Through he went. Somehow he held it together, and this, the beauty of the mini challenge. Two classes, two separate races, and two very, very tight races as we see a change for the lead. And through goes Jake Packen back to the front of the field. Luke Caudle, though, immediately looks the challenge going up towards Druids. This is the opening for Lee Allen, who looks around the outside and gives a little bit of a love tap there to Luke Caudle as Caudle's demoted to third and robustly defends the position. And Allen's on the grass and into the barriers, and around goes Lee Allen emphatically into retirement. And well, Luke Caudle and Lee Allen have got a very, very close rivalry. Every now and then it does spill over just a little bit. The rest of the field pick their way past the stricken car of Lee Allen. They're built very, very strongly, these mini challenge cars. So Lee, yes, he's fine, if somewhat, very irate as he stalks away. In the Cooper class, equally close though, Josh Gollin and Shane Stoney, still as they were, very, very tight. Just wonder, given the proximity of Allen's car there to the edge of the track, whether or not we might see the introduction of the mini paceman here. So pat down right in car with Luke Caudle. He does get that slight tap from the Allen. He moves across the colour of his line again. A very slight ghost of a contact, but it's enough at that speed to put the Allen onto the grass, and thereafter it's a passenger into the tyre barriers and rotating into retirement. Lawrence Davey also having dramas at Paddock Hill Bend, skittering on through the gravel trap. Former Legends racer. Now can Shane Stoney this time around pick his way past Josh Gollin? He looks to the outside of Gollin as they arrive into Hawthorns. Josh, though, has got that car in all the right places. Shows just how wide you can make a mini Cooper when you really want it to be. Also, Ricky Page and Gideon Cresswell having excellent scrap as well for third in the Cooper class. And Walker is in fifth, from Hamish Brandon sixth. And the SC boards indeed do show that the new mini paceman, this year's pace car, is out on track, slowing the field down, allowing the marshals to do their work. fantastic looking car as well, the Mini Paceman. Well, hopefully we won't see too much of that this season, except for the rolling start races, because we'd never like to see a safety car. It's a fine car to lead them around as it pulls in now, and the race gets underway with Jake Packen leading Chris Smith, then Luke Cordell in third position. Cordell will be looking to fight his way back towards the front of the field, although it's now Chris Smith, who often comes good towards the second half of races, who's taking his turn to challenge Jake Packen. Very contrasting driving styles. Smith much more calculated, calm in the cockpit. Jake Packen, he just gets his head down and charges, and thus far this year it's been to very, very good effect. He rocked away the early races in the first meet of the year at Snetterton before failures rather stymies his challenge later in the weekend. Patrick Mortimer having a good scrap as well with Mark Stewart. Mark just steadily picking his way up through the pack. At the moment he's got Craig Freeman on his tail. Jake Packen still leading the way into Hawthorns once more. John O'Brown very, very tight. Also George Allen and Chris Smiley having a great scrap. It's Chris at the moment just to the head of Allen Senior, who can often be found making the odd appearance here at Brands Hatch. As coming through and on is the race leader, Jake Packen, and Packen in command of this one. Good scrap going on behind though between Lawrence Davey and John O'Brown, and Davey again pushing very, very hard into Paddock Hill Bend. In John O'Brown very, very tight, and Brown gets a little bit of a nudge through the bottom of Paddock. Just pitches the car slightly sideways, and that is all the opening that Lawrence Davey needs to squeeze through the pair of the running side by side through the hairpin at Druids, and then back down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend, with John O'Brown taking the opportunity to return the compliment to Lawrence Davey, just tapping him out ever so slightly sideways. A pair of them still side along the Cooper Straight, as finally Shane Stoney makes that move stick in the Cooper class, and it boxes them all up together as well, because immediately Josh Gollin pushed down. It gives Gideon Cresswell and as well Ricky Page the opportunity to join the battle there, and it's Ricky Page who's probably going to come off best from this in the white car, number 33, as Cresswell runs wide. Lawrence Davey emphatically beached Paddock Hill Bend, as heading through Clark Curve for the final time of asking. It is Jake Packen who's going to take the victory. Very, very hard-fought win from Chris Smith in second, and Shane Stoney another fighting drive to give him the victory in the Cooper class from Josh Gollin. Very, very dramatic race there from the Mini Challenge. Let's take a look at the top six, with Packen winning it from Chris Smith and Luke Cordell. Chris Callister-Russell doing very well for fourth from Mark Stewart, and George Allen completing the top six. In the class results for the JCW class, as ever, the top three in the race overall, so Jake Packen from Chris Smith and Luke Cordell. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney, who claimed the honours from Josh Gollin, and Ricky Page scoring an excellent third in the Cooper class, all of which gives us a very exuberant and happy podium as the drivers receive the spoils of victory in the Mini Challenge. The Sunoco fuel voucher 20 litres for the winner of the Cooper class, and smiles all around.
Well, that's it for part one. Join us again back here at Brands in just a few. Welcome back to Brands Hatch, where there's still another race to come in the Mini Challenge, which means there's also another chance for the drivers to take advantage of one of the incentives on offer this season.
The JCW class drivers have got the opportunity to win a full day test with 888 Racing in their touring car, give the drivers a real feel for the highest level of British saloon car racing. And the way that this works is that each race winner wins a lottery ticket, and that then gets put into a draw at the end of the season, and then the winner of that draw will get the full day test. So far we've got Jake Packen with 3 wins, Chris Smith and Chris Smiley with 1 win each. So they're all in the draw, and I'm sure there'll be other drivers entering the draw later in the season. The key things are that we wanted to give something back to the drivers. They really make a commitment to the mini challenge. So along with the support of Corbo, Showtracks and Powerflex, who've just signed up to the Best of the British programme, as we've called it, we wanted to give something back to the drivers so that they feel like they're really getting something in return.
Absolutely, it sounds amazing. Let's see what the drivers think.
I think it's a great prize for the Mini Challenge JCW competitors because it's everyone's aspirations to want to be a touring car driver and to see if they actually can make the grade.
Obviously if I've won a race now I'm in the hat, so it sort of pressure's off a wee bit, but I'd like to continue it on so I have more chances of winning it.
It's a great idea to have it so that you don't have to be the championship winner to get involved. So guys like Jake, for example, who had a problem with his gearbox early on in the second or third round, was able to get his name in the hat. And the more times you get your name in the hat, the better chance you've got of winning.
There's a lot of opportunity for a lot of the racers to win the tickets or to win the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the grid turns out later on today.
Triple Eight, I think, are offering the MG as a test day, which is fantastic. It's probably a £10,000-15,000 prize if it's for the day.
Obviously as touring cars the next sort of step, it's sort of good that they're giving you somebody an opportunity to take down that route, so I think it's really good.
I understand there's also a couple of brilliant incentives for the Cooper class drivers as well.
Indeed, I mean the Cooper class is a really critical part of the Mini Challenge Championship, where there's an opportunity for drivers to feed through that and then move up to the JCW class. So the big prize is that the winner of the Cooper class this year will win a subsidised drive in the JCW class for 2014, and that prize is worth in excess of £16,000. So it's a really big prize. And then in addition to that, each race winner receives a Sunoco fuel voucher for 20 litres of fuel for every race that they win.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, some fantastic incentives for the Cooper cars. Let's see what their drivers think.
For us guys on a minimum budget, we're that 20 litres of fuel covers us for 2 races out of 3 races for the weekend. So it's a fantastic incentive.
The fuel incentive is really good because it helps cut our costs down a fair bit. The fuel is one of our bigger costs, so to get the incentives and the 20 litres of fuel, it does help.
The main one for me is definitely I want to get my hands on the prize of winning the subsidised JCW drive. It gives me like a little bit of extra drive to make me want to win.
As the rain comes down for the third and final race of the weekend, it's a very different looking grid. That's because it's a reverse of the top 7. So that means newbie Justin Taylor finds himself in pole for the Coopers, and it's Stuart Calder for the JCWs.
And with the weather taking a turn for the inclement, this promises to be a very, very exciting curtain close for the weekend. So the reverse grid draw, the new innovation for 2013, sees Stuart Calder on pole from George Allen, Mark Stewart and Chris Callister-Russell. In the Cooper class is Justin Taylor from Ollie Walker. Hamish Brandon should go well from third, and Gideon Cresswell showing a lot of pace as well this weekend. So the cars, as ever, magnificent sight, ready for the race to get underway. We're in car Jake Packner's, away we go, the red lights flash out and they scrabble for traction and grip. Off the line, George Allen slow away, so Stuart Calder. That's a brilliant start though from Chris Callister-Russell, and it's Callister-Russell in the white car who's going to swoop through and take the lead through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Chris Smith also well away, and Jake Packer, there he's number 13, and he dives between Lawrence Davey and as well Luke Corley. He almost tries to go as well between George Allen and Chris Smith. He very, very nearly succeeds in so doing once they come out of Druids. Unbelievably, Packen up into second position by the time they arrive to Graham Hill Bend. George Allen just tipped slightly sideways from that. All very clean though in the JCW class. What about the Cooper class? And Justin Taylor just gets snagged by Josh Gollin, and around he goes. Very unfortunate there for Taylor, not his doing at all. He finds first gear though and gets on his way very promptly as Chris Callister-Russell tries to stretch his legs over Jake Packen in these early stages, with George Allen at the moment redoubtably holding on to third position from Chris Smith. Just about everybody else racing for fourth position as Stuart Calder has slipped down a little bit. He's just in behind Mark Stewart as he heads around Hawthorns. Conditions just as the drivers wouldn't want in the Cooper class. It's Ollie Walker who currently leads the way from Hamish Brandon and Gideon Cresswell. As we go in, Jake Packen, who gets 2 wheels on the grass out of Sheen, gets the inside line for Stirling, and through he goes into the race. At the moment it's looking very good for a clean sweep this weekend for Packen as we go in car for a replay of the moment that Josh Collin rather tagged Justin Taylor. Look at this train of cars surging through over the line. The fight for third position still headed by George Allen, who's doing remarkably well to see off the challenge of Luke Cordell, Chris Smith and Lawrence Davey. Davey in the black Sonico car challenging the black and orange machine of Smith as they arrive into Druids, and Luke Cordell just slithers slightly offline. And this damp track is making it really a voyage of discovery each and every lap for the drivers about where the braking points are. Lawrence Davey still trying to squeeze his way clear of Chris Smith at the moment, though Smith able to keep his nose in front, keeps his car in front. What about the Cooper class? Ollie Walker doing a good job at the moment from Hamish Brandon. We saw both of them on the podium at Snetterton, and then we've got Gideon Cresswell in the number 3 car for early back machine, just trying to settle into the slipstream behind Hamish Brandon as they all sprint along Cooper Straight towards Surtees, and then out on to the legendary Grand Prix loop. Walker at the moment though, he's got that car in all the right places. George Allen likewise putting together a very strong defensive drive here. Lawrence Davey looking for space, but really there is none. Luke Cordell tries to turn across him. Slight biff in the door there for Luke Cordell. He gets pushed slightly wide, but he's going to have the inside line as they come out of Druids towards Graham Hill Bend. So Luke Cordell able to hold his place from Lawrence Davey. All the while though, this is preserving a very, very strong drive for George Allen. Lawrence Davey and Luke Cordell will be looking to challenge Allen if they can when they arrive into Surtees. Way through there, as we've got an emergency car coming onto the track, and the red flag just as Jake Packen came on towards Westfield Bend, and the reason for that is a big incident, or so it would appear, for Patrick Mortimer in the Team Sky Electrics car in the JCW class. Let's see in car with Mortimer goes sideways through Clark Curve, and the car digs in the gravel, over it goes. They built these minis very, very strong, so Patrick, I'm sure, is fine for that. Unfortunately, it's not the first time he's been sideways in the JCW class. He did it at Donington last year, and with 16 minutes elapsed, that gives us the result and the win for Jake Packen from Chris Callister-Russell and Chris Smith, with Chris Smiley, Lawrence Davey and Mark Stewart completing the top 6 as the rain falls ever more steadily. In the JCW class, it's Jake Packen from Chris Callister-Russell and Chris Smith, and in the Cooper class, Shane Stoney was able to pick his way past Ollie Walker, who withstood the pressure from Josh Gollin to complete the Cooper class rostrum. Well, a very hard weekend's racing is complete. The teams give the drivers a huge round of applause. The drivers enjoy the spoils of victory as the champagne flies on already sodden Brands Hatch rostrum.
Come through, had a good battle, and then I think I had a bit of a scrap with Chris for a while, for a lap or so. Got past him and just managed to get some good times in there and get a bit of a gap, because I knew Lee Allen was on slick, so I didn't want him coming through and catching me. So got a good gap, but towards the end it was getting pretty nervy, because it was really railing me in, because I'd used so much of my tyres bridging the gap.
Yeah, we took a bit of a gamble. We stayed on the slicks while everybody else changed. And it was working for the first 3 or 4 laps where it was dry, but then it sort of kept raining and gradually getting slippier and slippier. But we sort of managed to hold on, and yeah, we came away all right.
7 races into the year. Let's have a look then at the championship standings, with Shane Stoney leading the way from Josh Gollin, who's just 2 points clear of Chris Smith, and he's got Jake Packen as well snapping at his heels.
Some interesting tactics from Shane Stoney with the tyres, but seem to pay off. And he's, of course, now got 6 out of 7 wins. Then there's Jake Packen, who's looking really, really strong. Can they both maintain their leads in the next round? Who knows? If you want to keep up to date with everything Mini Challenge, you can by going to our new website. There's also the smartphone app. Plus, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We'll see you back here at Brands for the Mini Festival next time.